To create a template for a marketing campaign, you'll need to get into App Setup. To access App Setup, you'll come up here to My Profile, and you'll select App Setup. And at the top of the screen, you're going to select CRM Setup. So depending on how you're accessing this, there may be different options across the top. That doesn't matter. You just need to be able to select CRM Setup. And from this, you're going to select Marketing Email Template. You'll have the option here to load an existing template or create a new template. So let's select to create a new template. And we'll first need to enter the subject of our new template. And then we can start by adding a logo, text, image, or footer. We'll start by adding some text. And we have some different levels of heading to choose from when we're first coming in. When designing your layout, it's helpful to understand how the tools are configured for email templates. So if you hover over the section, you'll see there's three main categories. There's the section, there's the entry, and there's the column. And on each of these, there's different tools. A section refers to this entire block. So this is one section in your template, and you can have multiple sections in your template. But the word section and the tools for section refer to the entire block. The entry refers to a particular cell in that section. So what we have right here, we just have a single cell. This is a text entry, and editing this particular entry is going to just affect, you can see what's inside this purple box. It's just going to affect this entry. And then columns, this is a single column, but you can have up to 3 different columns in a section. This allows you to work at the level of the column within your template. So let's start by taking a look at how you would add different columns to a section. So we're coming in here to our section, and there's only a single column. This is a text entry. And I'm going to go up here to the gear tool. And at the top, you'll see there's an option to select the number of columns that I'd like in this section. I can have 1 column, 2 columns, or 3 columns. I'm going to select 3 columns. Okay. And now you can see there's 3 different columns selected. We've already have one with our text entry, but we can click add. We could add a logo. We could add an image. And then within the column, you'll use the column tool. If you come over here to the gear, you also have the option of adding 1 or 2 cells. So we'll add 2 cells here. Click OK. And you can see now in this section, we have 3 different columns. And in the columns, we have the option of having 1 or 2 cells. So this has 2 cells, and these are both single cells. So now that we've learned how to create different columns and different cells within columns in a section, let's look at how we'll go about designing the different entries. When you click on one of the cells, these are each entries within your section and within a column. You have a few different toolbar options. The first option will create another entry right below the current entry. But remember, there's only 2 cells allowed in a column. So for example, over here, if we click this, it's not going to allow us to do it because we already have 2 cells. Over here, we only have 1. So when we click it, we'll have the option of adding a logo, adding text, adding image, adding a footer below it. We'll go ahead and add a footer below it. Okay, so now you see we've created 2 cells in this column. The next tool that's featured is this. This just creates a copy. So it duplicates whatever is in this cell directly below it. So if I click the duplicate button, I'm going to have 2 logos. The third button allows you to start doing some designing. And if you click this, the first thing that you have available would be to add some padding. And this is adding padding directly to the entry. So maybe we want a little more padding on the left, a little more padding on the right. We'll make it even all the way around. We'll hit OK. Okay. And now you see we've got a little bit more padding. The next option would be margins. Would you like to add additional margins to this particular entry? borders. Okay, so you can design what kind of border you'd like. There's all different ones to choose from. We'll say here we're going to create a solid border all the way around. And you can also choose the color that you'd like to pick. And you can see how this has now created a border around that particular entry. The fourth option is your background. So this will add a background to your entry, and you can choose either adding a color background, a gradient background, or an image. So let's choose a gradient, and you can choose the color that you'd like for your gradient, and then OK. And you can see how now this has created a gradient background. And so those are the tools at the entry level. You can also work with the tools in a similar way at the section level. So again, if you remember, this whole piece, this whole block is a section. So if you create a new entry type, logo, text, image, footer, it's going to create a new section directly below the current section. Same with duplicate. If you create duplicate, it's going to duplicate this exact section, and it's going to do it right below your current section. Again, clicking on section settings, you have the opportunity to change the padding for the whole section or add borders to the whole section. And then you can also choose a background for the entire section. So you can choose a style. Do you want to put a particular color as the background style? Would you like to use a color gradient, or would you like to use a particular image as your background? So you'll choose this. We'll choose a color. And we'll choose maybe a light gray. Similarly with the columns, again, you can duplicate a column. If you come in here to the settings, you'll be able to adjust the padding in the entire column. The margins for the column, you'll be able to place a border around the entire column. So that would mean the different cells in that particular column would be included. Again, or create a background just for that column. So those are the tools that you can use to start designing your template. And the main thing to remember here is that there's a difference between the section, the entry, and the column. And the same goes for deleting pieces of your template. You want to make sure that you're deleting the right piece. So if you want to delete the column, make sure you come down here to column and hit the delete button. If you want to delete an entry, make sure you come here to entry and delete the entry. If you want to delete an entire section, come up to the section and delete the section. Now that we've looked at sections, entries, and columns, let's look at the main toolbar and some of the features that you can add to your email template. So click anywhere in an entry and you'll see this toolbar opens up across the top of your screen. The first thing we're going to look at is adding a button. So sometimes when you're designing a template, you will want to add a clickable button that will redirect your viewer to maybe a website or a sign-up page or to some other location. So to add a button, you'll click Add Button, and here you'll have a choice to choose your background color. So let's make it orange. If you'd like to enable a border, you can. What would you like your button text to say? Have it say register. It gives you a preview right here. And then this is where you can add the link to your URL. So add that right here. Okay, and then click OK. You can see now you have a button inside your template that will be active. Other things you can do, you can add additional images into your templates just by clicking Add Image. And you can either upload a new image by clicking the plus sign and browsing files or using your camera, or you can use an image that you've already uploaded. Okay, so you see here we've just added another image to our entry. And then when you're working with text, maybe you would like to begin your email addressed to your contact. You'd like to use the first name of your contact. You'll want to add a field placeholder. So click Add Field Placeholder. And it's going to ask you to specify the data type that you'll be using. So this is for an email campaign. So we're going to be using a campaign contact. Okay. And then from that campaign contact, what data field would we like to use? And we're going to be using the first name. So select first name and then add it and then hit OK. And you'll see right here when this populates, it's going to begin with the first name of your contact. You can also click Add Other. And this is if you'd like to add your company address or the copyright, a logo, if you'd like to add your social media links or a website. You can click on these buttons and they will auto-populate and fill in on your template. The information for this data comes from your company info section under CRM setup. So you've already entered this when you were configuring your CRM, and it's just going to extract that data and use it to autofill these sections in your template. The rest of the toolbar behaves like a Word toolbar. You'll be able to change the size of your font, change colors, highlight sections. And then on your right, there's a few different options here. You're able to see what the template will look like from a desktop view. You can also preview it from a mobile device. Over here, you'll make sure that the template name is what you would like to use. What is your email subject line? And then restrict to data types. Make sure that this template shows up only when you're using a certain data type. So if you only want this template to populate when you're looking at campaigns, you'll want to restrict it to campaigns. That means anytime you're creating a campaign, this will be one of the templates you can choose from. If you don't restrict it, anytime you use a template in the system for anything, this will be one of the templates that you could choose from. And then if there's files that you'd like to attach to your email template, you can do that here by uploading the files. The other thing you can do here is you can send a test email to yourself. So if you click the three dots, if you click the overflow menu, you'll be able to click this and it will send a test email using this template that you can go into your inbox and take a look and make sure everything looks the way you want it to before you send it off for your campaign.